Tuesday, June 30th, 2020's episode of McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk. I am Pat McAfee. Sitting to my left in front of a fake bookcase is AJ Hawk.
What's up, Pat? You feeling good? How did your morning show go? I know yesterday it was a bit of like a therapy session. We got to get some negativity out. Well,
yeah, I hate those, not all, but some of those, journalists that think they run shit and their time is tick-tocking away quickly, very, very quickly. So I'm happy we got to talk about that. But this morning we had a therapy session with Chris Herron. Chris Herron. Oh, yeah. You know who Chris Herron is?
The basketball player?
Oh. Legend. Dude, wild conversation today with him. He's cool. By the way, I'm going to go play him in tennis at one of his wellness things. He said he's a gorilla on the court is what he said. Yep. Exact words, a gorilla on the court. That's an insane story, and I want to get your opinion on this. He was taking 1,600 milligrams of Oxycontin a day. With the standard, I guess, is like 20 milligrams is normally what you get offered or whatever. He was playing basketball at an elite level, so much so he got drafted 33 while doing this overall. Played for the Nuggets, played for the Celtics. He was picking up drugs outside of games 10 minutes before they start because he couldn't play unless he was on Oxycontin or whatever.
With his warm-ups on. That was my favorite part of the one thing I saw, with his warm-ups on.
Yes, outside the TD Garden with his warm-ups on 10 minutes before the game starts. So his coach doesn't even care. Like, go do what you got to do outside. Yeah, we get it. He goes and does that. He starts that game. He might be the greatest athlete of all time. Just think about what was going on in between his ear, this is, by the way, where everything lies for a professional athlete is in between ears. A lot of people have the body, the capability. They just can't get it right in between here. He was battling against 1,600 milligrams of Oxycontin at least a day while playing in the NBA. Might be the greatest athlete of all time. Yep. Like, I don't know how you would ever do that. I have no idea how that happens. But boy, what a remarkable story about getting sober, getting clean. He's coming up on 12 years sober. He's taking care of the community. I mean, I love the conversation with Chris a lot.
I think he's awesome. Like, from what I've seen and watched, I think there was a 30 for 30 on him.
Unguarded,
yeah, it made a lot of people aware of his story, which is so crazy to think about. Like, what if he was living in the age of social media and he's standing outside in his Celtics warm-ups, his full uniform, trying to get some pills from a dude? Like, I think they might have some footage of that if it was.
Imagine me walking up to that. Imagine me with my phone this motherfucker right here.
It's Chris Herron.
No one probably believed him. That's the thing. Like, look at this guy's a diehard fan. He got the authentic warm up somehow. I got to find out where he did this.
I told him that the amount of people that make it to the NBA that play basketball is minuscule. The amount of people that make it out of the addiction that he had to opioids and heroin and everything else, cocaine at one point, is minuscule as well. He's accomplished two things that next to nobody ever accomplishes, both in the same life, and now he's 12 years sober. His kid is now playing basketball in college at San Diego. I mean, it's just like, what a life for that guy. That guy has lived 10 lives in one life. He was in the NBA, and he said he doesn't even really think about it anymore. He's just happy to be where he's at, and sobriety has given him more than anything. But it was a cool convo. That was a really cool, much different conversation in this show than my show normally has. Much different. I mean, at the end, there's a little shit talk, but very, very much different.
I believe. Well, do you think he had that same issue? Like you said, he's copping pills 10 minutes before a game in his warm-ups. It was such a crutch for him that he felt like he needed it. I mean, I'm sure he felt like he needed it at all times.
He said he needed it.
What's that?
He said he didn't think it, because I asked him, I was like, was there ever a time where maybe like sobriety hit you? Because I had a moment where I took mushrooms, actually. It was in college. I had a real moment of, I don't want to say clarity, but I was like, listen, I'm going to stop fucking around. I'm going to make it to the NFL. It was after my junior year. I'd missed those kicks. I had 27 death threats. My roommates and I were, my roommates were like the people that really helped me survive through that entire thing, because I was going to try to I don't know if I was going to kill myself, but I was going to disappear. Like, I got in my car and I drove to Maryland the next day, went over to Snowshoe, and I was just going to keep on. I was going to go I was just going to disappear. I had some money loans out. I was like, I've let down so many people. I don't want to do it. So I come back to get some clothes, and Reed, the guy that was with us this weekend, redheaded guy, I don't want to say he like slapped me, but he like gave me like this conversation. It was like, yo, you don't think We had to lead at halftime. You don't think I got a penalty for it? Like, all this plays into it. Don't let all these outsiders kind of like bring you down or whatever. And I was like, I needed that. Like, I actually needed that in my life. And then my roommates and I almost got tighter throughout that whole process, you know? A lot of players on the team, and we got real tight. And then that spring, after Rich left, Coach Stu was in there, and Coach Stu amped up the drug testing policy. Okay, so we used to be able to just take Visine bottle inside the tights. We get in there, no big deal, pull the Visine, sleep with it in between your legs so it gets your body temperature, pull it out, dump it into a cup, boom, shut it, here to the person, you're off running. Coach Stu, because he was so tight to all the players, he knew that's what we were doing, right? So Coach Stu knew that was our move. Like,
wait, would you put clean piss in the Visine bottle?
Yeah. So
was it enough?
You find like the Mormon or the super good person on the team. There was a couple that we could go to and said, hey, need this. Like, you're not pregnant, right? No, obviously can't have that happen, but just pee in this thing. And then you put the Visine bottle, you put it down in your tights, in between your thighs, and then you would just sleep there. You'd sleep with it so it gets your body temperature. And then whenever they ask you to go in there, it would be at your back, right? They'd be standing behind you. You'd go in there, you'd pull it out, you'd tighten it and go, here you go, thank you so much. They test it for warmth to see if it passes or not. You're good, you're off and running. So Coach Stu was like our guy, right? So Coach Stu knew that about all of us. Like he had overheard us talking and telling these stories.
Wait, your head coach knew this?
Well, he was the tight ends and special teams coach before he was the head coach, right? So he was cool with all of us. So then he becomes a head coach after Rich Rod goes to Michigan after that game against Pitt and all that stuff. And then Coach Stu, the interim head coach, wins the Fiesta Bowl. Then that spring, he becomes, our head coach. And he gave us, like, one of the first meetings, he, like, let everybody know, like, hey, there's a little bit different policy now when it comes to the drug testing, by the way. Because there were some people on the team that I think Stu didn't want on the team anymore. They were on scholarship. And an easy way to get people, obviously, off scholarship is they fail a test or do something like that. And there were some guys, I think, that Bill thought Rich Rod was just keeping around, should not be keeping around. So that first drug test he gave, I think they tested 12 people, and I think 12 failed. Right? So all 12 failed, and they were cut. So, like, that next morning, our conversation was like, hey, Bill Stewart was not fucking around when he was talking about. One guy did the trick. They said, the pee's not warm enough. Going to need it again. Goes back upstairs, gets some more, puts it in the microwave, even goes in there. They're like, sorry, not warm enough. Going to have to do it again. Like, the testers were told the game by Coach Stu, right? Like, they're like, no, not good enough. Going to have to do it. So, change everything. So, we obviously try to get around that somehow, and we found mushrooms. Okay, so mushrooms, unless Coach Stu was going to do a spinal tap, was not going to find out about mushrooms, right? And at that point, I decided I was not going to drink anymore. So really, like, my only thing here was either spice wasn't even around then, or I did mushrooms. And I enjoyed them. But I had one night, I remember it vividly, my roommates and I, because we were at a tighter spot than we had ever been after that moment where people were, legitimately telling me they were going to kill me and my family. And it was rough for me. Like, I never felt that way. Normally people like me. So, like, whenever that was happening, it was a whole new thing. Needed it to happen to become the person I am, but it was rough. I'll never forget in the kitchen, it was like the end of the night. We were winding down from the trip, and I had like an epiphany moment where I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stop fucking around. I'm gonna actually focus on being a good ball kicker. Like, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna instead of just the $40,000 in party loans and the penny pitchers and the drink till you drown Thursday, which I've gotten by with here the last 3 years, and I'm gonna put this away. And it was like a real moment of clarity for me, and I did that, right? Like, I did that. Everything.
Were you on mushrooms when this epiphany happened?
Oh yeah. That was, so the next morning when we woke up, like, probably went to sleep like probably 4 or 5 a.m. that morning whenever we did it. I wake up around 11 or noon, and I legitimately felt like a whole new person. Like, I felt like a whole new person. I was like a little bit more driven, and I don't know why. Maybe it was just like I finally made the decision to do so. But then you could see everything for me just kind of turn up. Like, I got a lot better, right? I still miss kicks or whatever, but everything just got a lot better because I made that decision. Like, okay, I'm going to stop with the bullshit. I'm going to actually focus here on trying to make a living. And then comedy and like all that stuff was talked about in that kitchen whenever we were having a good time coming off the end of a mushroom trip. And I asked Chris Herron, I was like, was there ever a moment where you're like, you know what, if I didn't do all this, I'd be the greatest basketball player on earth. Like, if I like, did you ever have that thought? And he was like, no, his thought was that he needed it to play. Like that was his, and for me, that was a eye opener. I was like, so you viewed it almost as like, I don't want to say like a PED, but instead of something that would distract you from being your best, he viewed it as something he needed, which is just insanity. Because I think, like a lot of other people who have seen him now, he looks damn good, by the way. He looks like an actor. He's handsome. I would have liked to see him play clear-headed, ready to go. And he said that thought never even crossed his mind. And that was wild to me. That was fucking wild to me.
Yeah, well, for some people, though, I mean, there's healthy distractions and there's unhealthy distractions. Like, if he's sitting there worrying about where he's going to get his next batch of pills from and whatever, and he's always worried about where that's coming from, he doesn't have time to worry about and have the anxiety about basketball and all the pressure being placed on him from the outside. So maybe it was a little bit of a distraction. How long did he play in the NBA?
2 seasons? Yeah, 2 years.
2 years, he got hurt, and then he ended up playing overseas. But his rookie year with Denver, he said he played his best because the OGs of that team, and he listed off a bunch of them, they knew he had, obviously, addiction. They, took care of him, he said. He said, I was the 12th man on the bench, and they took care of me. He said, that was the best year of my life or whatever. And then when he gets traded back to Boston, that's an hour away from everybody he knows.
Going home, man. It's like Hernandez. They said going to the Patriots was the worst thing that could happen to him. He's right in there with all of his old crew.
I was very thankful I did not end up at the Steelers because, boy, if I was a Pittsburgh Steeler those first couple of years, it would have been my fault. It would have been my fault for sure.
Well, didn't Jeff Reed try to make up for that a little bit? He had a few incidents.
Skippy Reed.
Skippy beat the hell out of a paper towel dispenser in a town that was like 30 minutes north of us.
What happened? Do you know what happened with that story? Why did he take it out on the paper towel dispenser?
You've been there, okay? You've been there. You wash your hands.
I don't think I can't say that I have, though.
Yeah.
Maybe you pee on yourself. Something happens whenever you're
the floor.
incredibly inebriated, and you go to the paper towel dispenser, and you reach up in there, and maybe there's only one in there, and you pull it out. Oh man, have you ever been that mad before? No, and Skippy Reed said, listen, I ain't happy about this. He started pounding that thing, and it's a tiny town where he was doing this at. I mean, it is a tiny, tiny town. And we just so happened to have a high school teacher that was from there, Mr. Jasper. And the next day or whatever it happened, he comes in, he was like, that was a good paper towel dispenser too, man. That one was always stocked. I don't know what happened.
Was it the automatic one? The automatic ones I get mad at because you wave your hand and it never comes out.
I feel like David Blaine sometimes with those fucking things. Like you put your hand under there's no water, and then somebody else pops up and there's water. It's like, well, did I just do a magic trick, or is this thing completely fucking me over? I would like to know. You know, the ones I like is the sensor that's on the side, so then you can just hit your backhand off. Like I'll just touch the thing with the back of the hand. Those ones underneath where you have to kind of like guess where they're at. That's a problem. That is in the soap ones. You're either giving me way too much or not enough, and I need to be able to decide how much I would like.
I agree. Need a full squirt, at least.
I do like the toilets that just flush by themselves.
Yeah, those are great. The Toto one.
Need to have those, though.
Good touch.
Need to have those, yeah. Have you ever used a squatty potty, the thing you lift your legs up when you take shit?
You know what? I think I did have one for a little bit. I don't get it. My knee, my right knee, I tore my PCL. There's no cartilage. It doesn't bend like that. So it wasn't my thing. I know Howard Stern always talked it up.
Really? I didn't know that. He talked about a lot of other stuff, too.
How's he doing with that? Has he come through on the other side?
I think so. He's Howard Stern. I don't know.
We're going to find out in a year.
I have no idea.
His stuff does not age well.
Not many people.
I wasn't a big Howard Stern fan. I've seen his movie, obviously Private Parts, because I was a kid whenever that all came out, and it was like the right thing to do. And I saw a show on E! there for a little bit, but I wasn't like a diehard loyal listener. But I understood that Howard Stern was an animal. Like I understood Howard Stern has a following. Sirius hedged their entire company on Howard Stern. Like literally their entire company hedged it on there. And I've gotten some clips and stuff like that, but I wasn't into it back in the day. And then as I've gotten older, listening to him interview people is next level. It's like watching Bob Ross paint. It's like I enjoy that a lot. But boy, some of those old bits, I'll tell you what, they do not hold up. They do not hold up. But it's Howard Stern, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, he's like 70 almost. Isn't his contract up soon? He's trying to make a decision whether he's going to come back. He only works a couple days a week anyway, doesn't he?
I don't know.
Yep, Tuesday, Thursday, it's every Thursday.
So if his contract's up, that means there's what, $7 billion opening up at Sirius?
Just about. I think that's right. Yeah.
Is that how much he made? I think he got signed for $10 billion whenever he got signed to Sirius. That first deal he signed with Sirius, I'll never forget being like, what a fucking legend. Just talking into a microphone. He's talking in the microphone. Now you got Barstool getting $460 million or whatever it is valuation. You got The Ringer getting $200 million from Spotify. You got Rogan getting, I know the exact numbers. I don't think anybody else does, but north of what everybody said he was going to get paid per year, basically. And then now, it's a whole new game.
Hey, how long is Rogan? It's a multi-year licensing deal with Spotify. Yeah. Do you know how many years?
I think it is 4. I don't know the year. I just know the monetary.
Can he do YouTube anymore?
No. Clips, though. I think you can put clips up, can't put the full show. Full show has to live on Spotify's thing. I think you can put clips up to promote it still. I'm not sure how that works, but I did hear the number per year, and I'll tell you what, Joe Rogan's doing pretty good. And he can still sell. He can still sell all his own ads.
What?
Yeah, they're just licensing the show. I mean, it's just, Rogan is right here, bub. Rogan is the blueprint. Rogan is the model. And there's some stuff coming up about Rogan back in the day too now. I mean,
yeah, every single company actually.
Oh yeah, they're going back and attacking what Joey Diaz when he was on his show and Joey Diaz has said so many crazy things, but I guess Rogan was laughing at it. Like, yeah, they come after everybody. I mean, I get it.
See, I just got body shamed by Mitchell Berger on the YouTube comments.
Come on, Mitch.
Dude, shut up. Beefy needs to get that weight down. What are you talking about? This is literally the best I've looked in probably 5 years at this point. I got to sit down in a terrible chair every day, right? And I'm built like a barrel, so I got people coming, hey, Mitchell, I don't need you body shaming me. Okay, now, first of all, I got body shamed so hard in the comment section that I committed to a diet, so I do need that, I guess, a little bit. But right now, Mitchell, I don't need your bullshit. Okay, just because that guy is a former middle linebacker and I potentially look bigger than he does, I don't need you coming after me. Okay, I don't need you.
He said beefy though. Beefy to me is a compliment. Like, oh yeah, I feel good. I'm jacked.
No, it's not how he meant it. Because then he said I need to get the weight down. Is what he said. So he actually called me fat in the second follow-up sentence that I didn't want to say because it kind of hurts my ears.
Former punter Mitch Berger.
No, but if it was Mitch Berger, I think he got popped for some roids at one point, Mitch Berger.
Mitchie.
Todd Sirebrun, too.
Sorry, Mitch, we're not using.
It's not him, but his name sounds similar to that. Those old punters that got popped for stuff.
Wait, what'd they get popped for?
I think Sirebrun got like a steroid pop. I think Mitch.
That Sauerbrunn definitely got one.
Can you Google if Mitch Berger got one?
His Wikipedia does not indicate that he was popped.
Oh, maybe Mitch Berger didn't then. That's maybe I thought he was because he was so good.
How much does that add for a punter?
I have no idea. Couldn't even guess. It's an explosion exercise, though. Kicking is an explosive exercise, so I would assume if you get more explosive, it's going to help out.
5-10 yards.
Mentally, don't you think it does a lot mentally for those guys? Like major league pitchers, some of them back in the day, like they may not have looked like they were in the greatest shape ever, but I know the guys that were juicing, like they love to try to get their legs really big so they can push off and throw harder. But I think mentally too, it made them feel like they were like they were Superman. Like, okay, this is my thing.
I've never dabbled in the steroids department, so I'm not 100% sure how it works, like in the muscle explosion build thing. But I would assume the placebo effect is a real one in that world as well. Like the placebo effect is that your brain thinks that it took a pill to do something, so your brain is automatically acting as if it was taken care of and you feel better and blah, 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 right? That's the placebo effect. I would assume with some of these guys who take shit that the placebo effect is real as well. Like, oh, I took this, so that means I'm stronger than I was yesterday. I'm this one. When I don't know if it's accurate or not. I would assume that you're right.
Hey, but if you think it's working, then it's working. That's all you need, really.
That's right.
Unless you have terminal cancer or something, maybe.
Jesus. How about Steve Jobs refusing to use any of the modern medicine?
Doing carrot juice and celery, trying to survive.
Didn't work. He tried though. I mean, hey.
But how many people have you heard though? I'm sure you've had multiple people tell you, "Hey, I knew old Sally. She was stage 7 pancreatic cancer. She juiced carrots for 6 months straight. Her skin turned actually a hint of orange, and now she beat the cancer."
Well, I've never heard that story, but
I honestly have heard multiple stories like that.
Ohio is awesome. Still is, always will be. I mean, that is a factual statement there. But my great aunt, Jeannie, she was diagnosed with, I forget which cancer it was, but she took an experimental drug. And it prolonged her life like an extra 2 years or whatever.
There's a lot of people on that. Like that's huge because all these, you know how hard it is to bring a drug to market and billions of dollars. So there's all these experimental ones where you sign off. If you have cancer or something, you could take them. We do a lot of stuff with the James Cancer Hospital here in Columbus. There's so many people that get on those experimentals that they don't 100% know if they're safe or they're going to work, but they work for people. It's good.
At the beginning of this whole quarantine, wasn't there some shit being talked about how those are going to get expedited through? Like
Remsviridol or whatever. Yeah, they are always talking about it. And now what? It's come out that it doesn't really do what it says.
I don't know what you're talking about. What did you say?
I don't know. Early on and everything, there was something that people were getting mad at Trump because he was mentioning this
The
viral
hydroxychloroquine
medication that works for something else, but maybe it helps with COVID. And then there's all this talk. I mean, that's honestly our only hope right now. I feel like for sports and for everything with the COVID is to come up with one of these viral medications that actually work.
Has to. College football. I don't know if you and I have talked about this yet other than just my show. I am starting to get a little gloom and doom mindset for college football. And if you do recall, Kirk Herbstreit, 3 months ago when this whole thing was starting, came out and he said that he has no idea how college football comes back. And everybody was like, Kirk, stop being a negative fucking asshole. We were too, by the way. We're like, hey, Kirk, we don't need that right now, okay, Kirk? Just keep that. And Kirk's like, no, the more and more I read about it, I'm just like, I hope it can come back, but I don't see how. I think the NFL will come back. College football, though, with the students and the university and the amount of people that gather from all over the place and how I just don't know. I don't know how college football is going to work. And I hope it does. I loved college football more last year than I ever have in my entire life because it was the first time I really watched college football for my entire life. I enjoyed the hell out of it, but it feels as if they got a long stretch ahead, AJ. And here's a question for you. Boomer Esiason said this morning. Mm-hmm. He gave an interesting quote that he knew he was going to get shit for. So he actually led off with saying, not in these exact words, but basically said, yeah, I think I'm going to catch a lot of fucking hell for this. But with all these guys that are getting COVID-19 on these college university teams, and now you're seeing the NBA guys come out and they're testing positive for COVID-19, I think them testing positive for it now, and this is going to sound bad, just like Boomer Esiason basically was. I think it's better that they test positive for it now so they can lock down so that in a month from now, whenever season's supposed to start, they've already been through it, right? I don't know if that's what Boomer Esiason was saying. I just read the headline. But for me, like these NBA guys are all 18 guys, over 300 guys have been tested. 18 guys have tested positive for the coronavirus. I think that's because the NBA is probably testing every single person in the NBA right now so that they have enough time to be locked down for 14 days so then they can enter the bubble, which is supposed to be a COVID-19 free zone. I think we're going to learn more and more people have it now so that they can get that 14-day quarantine. Oh, geez, watch it, buddy. Watch it. 14-day quarantine out of the way before everything starts. Am I wrong in thinking that, you think?
No, I don't think you're wrong. I mean, that's what the rumors, like the people are alleging right now. What Clemson had 27 players test positive or something on their football team. So people are saying, oh, yeah, of course, Nick Saban, all these guys, they want – I mean, you shouldn't say you want them to get COVID, but if they do now and they recover, then you don't have to worry about it during the season, do you? I mean, but we don't know right now if you can come back and get it again. Is that a guarantee that once you have it, it's like chicken pox?
Nobody knows. And there's also people, I think, that have taken the test like 2 weeks later and they still test positive for it. And then there's also false positives happening when people don't actually have it. Then there's asymptomatic. We don't know fucking shit about this thing. I mean, we're, 90-some days into this thing, and we still don't know anything about it.
I'm starting to worry about college football as well. I was talking to a guy this morning, and he was like, what do you think, man? And I was like, what? I just don't see college football happening, do you? And I started thinking and talking, and as I'm talking out loud, thinking out loud with the dude, I'm like, damn, I don't know. I'm starting to worry myself. Like, it's June 30th right now. The first game's scheduled for August 20th. I don't know. I hope there's some kind of breakthrough over the next 2-3 weeks.
Colleges have 100 and some players on each team, plus big schools, obviously, not small schools. We're talking about bigger schools. 100 and some. Oh, no flamethrower today?
Where's the fire? Where's the fire? Where's the fire?
AJ.
We want fire.
If this runs out, I'll have to.
Hey, big hit on the internet last night, you using a flamethrower.
That one that I ended up using, which I didn't know was a flamethrower. It's kind of dangerous because before
Kinda.
Oh, really?
before the
That thing
flame
was hitting your
comes out,
fucking ceiling.
Before the flame comes out, when you press it, it just shoots butane out for a while. And then that's why I'm like, oh, I'm squirting butane on my monitor and all over the carpet. I'm like, all right, I got to figure this one out.
Well, that's why whenever you start a fire, you don't start spraying on the lighter fluid until after the fire's already started. And you hang on to that thing. Just like what you're doing with your lighter there. That's the right move.
Happens the best of us, Age.
That's the right move.
The best of us.
How about when that fire climbs right back up into the bottle?
Yeah.
It's a moment.
That's a problem.
I was burning my house down a few weeks ago.
How do people spit fire and it doesn't come back into their mouth?
Oh, 151, you got to have a good on it. You got to get that thing. You got to have a good separation between the last bit of Bacardi 151 and your lips. Believe it or not, I know it's going to be hard to believe, I have done that before.
You got to breathe out of your nose.
Was this right after you ran up the wall and did a backflip?
That's July 18th, by the way. I still have a clock on it.
What is?
I have to do a standing backflip and a backflip off the wall, I think July 18th, because on June 18th, I said 1 month from now I'll be able to do it again.
Can't wait.
It's halfway there.
The wall thing might be tough, but I'm getting to the weight where the standing backflip should be no problem. The wall backflip is going to take a lot of commitment, a lot of trust in myself and the wall. But I've been watching these little fucking parkour homies on the internet. I think I got it figured out.
Here we go.
Hey, what's going on? So, DeAndre Jordan, he tests positive for COVID, and now he's out for he's saying he's out for the season, right?
He's on the Nets, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I would assume that Nets players are even higher in the chances of backing out due to Kyrie Irving being very against it, Kevin Durant being very against it, and I would assume that their team not really standing that much of a chance in the East that they're also going to get out of it, let alone the social unrest and all that stuff. But if you test positive, Adam Silver said that we will hold nobody in bad light if they choose not to go. I think some guys will get tested positive, like DeAndre Jordan, and say, no, I'm not going to do it. I already tested positive, even though it's supposed to be out of you in 14 days. And we don't know if you get it. There's no antibodies. But I think there's certain teams that are potentially looking to get out of this however they can, if we just want to call it how it is. But I think there's a lot of guys that are going to get tested positive for it, go into lockdown, and then send their asses into the Biodome down there in Orlando. I think it's kind of a mixed bag here of what's going to happen.
I want to see what happens with other athletes. I saw Ryan Zimmerman for the Nationals is sitting out this year. He said he has 3 young kids, a newborn, and his mom has multiple sclerosis or whatever, so she is at high risk, and he's just going to sit the season out. He just announced that, I guess.
He's just sitting out the entire thing?
Yep.
Yeah, he said he can't play. He has too many, for family reasons. He just has too many things against it, and he can't do it. He's like, he said, I'm not retiring. I'm definitely not retiring. I guess he's on a 1-year deal, making like $2 million. So I don't know what his plan is. So maybe he wants to go play for somebody else once this all clears up.
That's insane. I didn't know that. I didn't know that was happening in baseball.
Yeah, a couple guys have come out and said that they're not going to play for whatever reason.
That guy from the that one team that has 2 ACLs, he's going to be up for his contract, Bertans.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting decision. And I had a reaction that probably didn't make Bertans happy, but allegedly Bertans, now granted, there's a lot of other things that could potentially fall into it, but the way the story was being shaped when it first was announced, okay, so when the story was first shaped, it was that Bertans was sitting out because he's already had 2 ACLs surgeries. He is up for free agent after this year for the first time, so he is choosing not to go play in Orlando because of that. Now, that makes me think, if I'm a team, that this guy, because of his 2 ACLs, is scared to play 8 games in Orlando. Why would I give this guy $200 million? Right? That's like my first. And he's an assassin, I guess, as a 3-pointer.
yeah.
He's
Sniper.
He's a sniper of a shooter. But in my eyes, I'm like, hey, this guy doesn't want to play 8 games because of his chance of his knees. What would I want to give him $100-some million for? But then, as I got educated and started looking, like during quarantine, how much has this guy been working? What if you have an IT band that's just a little bit tighter for some reason? Like, I could see why people in that situation would sit out. But my initial knee-jerk reaction is, well, I'm not going to fucking pay that guy. Then if he doesn't even want to play 8 games, I'm not going to. What am I going to pay him to play, 82 games or whatever it is? Mm-hmm. This guy doesn't even want to play 8 games. But then there's also that business side you got to think about. Zimmerman, I assume, not only his family, but there's a business side to it. There's a lot of business to these decisions being made, too, that I think I have to be a lot more understanding of whenever I first hear it. Oh, come on, I got a sports show. I got to talk here. Get your fucking ass back out there. I also have to do the old, okay, there's business, there's health, there's life, there's the world that we're in. I mean, there's a lot to happen here. And I'd assume each individual case is just that. It's a known individual case.
Well, don't you think this Bertans character is looking at it like, hey, why would I go? It's basically like preseason. Why am I going to go risk my future playing 8 preseason games?
Well, it's postseason. It's not preseason.
I know, but do those 8 games mean much for him?
I got to be more understanding. They're probably not going to win it all anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And I guess he had an incredible year up into the quarantine break. So his stock is at its absolute highest it could be right now. So in a business sense, the only thing his stock could do is potentially go down in these 8 games, and his team, I don't think, is going to make a run at this.
No, it's the Wizards. They're like, 5.5 out?
Yep.
And
so
then,
that is a very difficult decision in a place to be in, but it's the same thing as like senior quarterbacks of bowl games if they're going to get drafted. Mm-hmm. And I have always said, I've never been in a position to be a starting quarterback ever in my life. Should have been maybe a 1 game or 2 after watching the outcome, but I've never been in this position either, get $100 million. I'm always like, hey, let's play with your team guy. Like, I'm always like, hey, let's do this, let's do it. But if you're a guy who had the best year of your life going into a contract year, and now there's 8 games in Orlando in a biodome that you might feel not as prepared for, I could see why you wouldn't want to do it. But boy, for me, it's like 8 more games. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go put up 30 in those 8 games. They're going to pay me $400 million. That is I thought, and that is why I'm an idiot. So I understand why Bertans potentially thinks the other way. What's up, Diggs?
I was gonna say, so they would probably have to go 8-0 to get in, and then he has made $15 million in his career, and it's projected that he's gonna make $15 to $18 million a year on his new contract.
Oh yeah,
They would really have to go 8-0 just to make the post have a chance.
They're 5.5 out, so
Unless the Nets
and other
lost every
teams
game.
would have to.
I get it. Then I get it. I think it's still a tough decision, and I don't think you're dumb for having that opinion on that, Pat. I'm with you. I would want to play too, but if you sit there and look at it in the grand scheme of his career and how much money he's made compared to what the ability he has to make more down the line, like I guess it's not worth it for him.
they are plus 750 to be into the playoffs, like to get into the
Those
playoffs.
are
Good bet then, right?
no,
Not without John Wall.
no, not without John Wall and their snipers not playing. I think you can put that thing up at plus 75,000. So we don't have a guy that can shoot or dribble on the fucking team. Wow, it's gonna be tough in basketball.
They have the worst odds of anyone in the bubble of winning the entire thing.
So I guess I get why Bertans isn't going.
Yeah.
I guess.
But
But it goes against everything that
You get both sides. I mean, I get your side. Too.
No, I
Or your
understand.
original side.
I understand both sides, but how I sit on the thing is like,
Do you think there's any chance that, like, even a DeAndre Jordan, probably not Bertans, but they'll be like, you know what? I said I wasn't going to play. You know, it's July 10th. They need me. I'm going.
hold on, no. What happens if a week into the thing? What if it's a week into the thing, and a lot of the players are hearing from other players what it's like down there? Like, hey, not too bad. They're seeing like the press conferences, so the social unrest and social injustices are being spotlighted. They say they're putting Black Lives Matter on inside of each pane on each side. What happens if a week into that thing, some players who said no for whatever reason, their questions get answered in a positive way by the players that are down there, and they decide to go join the team? Can they do that? What, do you have to just get tested on the way in, or are the rosters set whenever they go down there?
I bet there's a date when the rosters are final and set. But how does that work? Say you have 3 guys go down, you're going to have to bring other players in. Do you have guys like alternates that are sitting in a little secondary bubble somewhere quarantining before? I doubt you can just go back and take one test and join the team. I'm sure if you go, there's a mandatory 10 or 14 days you got to hang out before they let you play.
Consider this my tryout. Edit that
The
out.
NBA said they're not testing. You're good. You don't have to worry about that.
What?
Swish.
Are you kidding me with that? Hello, Professor meets Allen Iverson.
The professor's still doing it. I saw some clips him going to some like prisons and playing guys in one-on-one games.
You ever see a Spider-Man? He dressed up in full Spider-Man outfit and just showed up like Billy Ho at these outdoor courts and just dominated everybody.
How does he make money? Does he get sponsored or what?
His YouTube is massive. His
Yeah.
YouTube is massive. He
Good for him.
he always puts it through your legs too. I mean, you would think
Does,
people would
does he
study
ever
film.
Does anyone dominate the professor? Does he ever get, like, I doubt we'll see the footage, but does anyone just kill him?
Did you ever go to those and one games?
I never went. I used to watch a lot of the videos.
Well, the videos are much better. The live games are tough. Live games are tough because
Or are they just trying crazy stuff and creating turnovers all game, and then but once or twice it's crazy and everybody falls down and freaks out?
no holding. Bingo. That is exactly it. The MC guy, I forget his name. He was a big part of it. Rest in peace. I think he passed away.
Escalade? No.
Oh no.
No, Escalade did pass away as well. Rest in peace, Escalade. But I was a big and one guy there for a while. And then it came to Pittsburgh and I went to the game.
Crisscross?
Boy, there's a lot of bad basketball. And then there's really good basketball. And then there's a lot more bad basketball. Then there's really good basketball.
Wait,
and then
who did
that's-
they play against?
They played against some local street ballers. So it's like the and one guys come play against the local guys, and if they were good enough, they would join the and one team. That's how the professor started. Actually, he was a local tryout, and then he ended up getting on the squad or whatever because I think he and Hot Sauce had respect for each other, if I'm not mistaken.
Well said.
But
Isn't Hot Sauce
boy,
the one that got in the NBA?
what's that?
Didn't Hot Sauce get in the NBA and play?
Skip to my Lou, dog.
No, my bad.
Skip.
Have a little respect. Who did I play against? Bone Collector. I played against somebody. He fouled me
what?
shooting a 3. No big deal.
What was it for? How did you play against him? Like just a pickup game?
each year the Black Expo happens here in Indianapolis. It's the largest Black Expo in the country. It is a massive thing. I got invited to play in a celebrity basketball game. It was me, Steven Jackson, oh boy, a singer, a really good singer I've never heard of before. I don't know. I was the only Caucasian guy on my team. So anytime I tried to get on the court, I kind of got like bullied out. You know what I mean? Like sub, okay, I walk on and 5 people walk on. So that's 6 people. Okay, I'll back up. I will. So I didn't get a lot of time on. So then when I got on the court, you know, I wanted to make the most of it. Let's get these points. Okay, let's rack up these points. T.Y. Hilton was on the other team. Some other guys were on the other team. There was a lot of crowd there. This is my first time getting invited to a celebrity basketball game. I was in some shape. And I was wearing Steph Curry's lawn cutting shoes, you know, those Nurse Currys that he put out. So I was ready to go. Okay, I was ready to go. And I get on, and I think the first time down, I knew him from the N1 shows when I forget which guy it was. I think it was Bone Collector. So he gets into the paint, and I try to do like a quick strip, and I foul him. Okay, first time on the court, like I foul him right in the thing. He shoots 2 free throws, but I could tell by the way he looked at me that he was not happy about what happened. Right? He was not happy about it. I didn't mean to. I was trying to get a quick strip because there was like 2 minutes left and a half. I just got on. I was trying to strip that thing, pass it hopefully to Steven Jackson. And then Steven knew that I was wet from 3. He was going to feed me back, and I was going to knock down a 3. Like that was in my head. I'm like, boom, outlet, 3. We're back. Let's play some defense. So I accidentally foul him hard too. I mean, it was
Good smack.
It was a hard foul, and at that point, I'm the only white guy on the court at this point, right? And potentially in the whole area there, I looked like just an absolute dickhead. I'd assume I had to look bad. So on the way back, okay, they feed me the ball. All of a sudden, they switch out. Now he's playing defense on me. And I'm like, oh, boy, here we go. What am I going to do, though? This guy has literally faced off against every great street baller in the history. So I hit him. I had a little bit of this. I'm a bigger body, you know? Long hair with the big body. So I hit a step-back 3, right? I just try to make some space. As I'm shooting, I mean, it's a foul on my arm, okay? Hard foul. And I was like, okay, no big deal, no big deal. So now I got to go shoot a free throw. And
3 free throws, right?
Huh?
3 free throws if it was a step back 3.
Oh, yeah. But I didn't play high school basketball, so I'm not like a guy that has like the free throw routine locked in. Like that's not like first one, almost air ball. Hits the bottom of the rim. Okay?
What was your routine though? How many times did you dribble? Did you spin?
I
Did you
like
try to
3.
look comfortable?
I think I did like a 1, 2, 3, like maybe a set to make it look like I really knew what I was doing. I should have done maybe like the full fucking thing, but I did that. In the first one, it hits the rim and just goes straight like underneath it, right? So I got T.Y. I think he's on the bench going, oh no! Oh, like don't airball a fucking free throw. And then the N1 guy's like, knew he couldn't shoot or something like that. Like, there's like a couple little things going on down there. So then I knocked down the next 2, obviously. Excuse me. Boom, boom, splash. I think I picked up like 4 boards, maybe 4 points, and played a total of 1.5 minutes in that game. Pretty good. Not too shabby.
I can understand how Mr. Bone Collector would be upset that he's trying to drive to the hole and give the fans a show and a charity event, and you decide to shut that down because everybody loves to watch people shoot free throws in entertaining charity events.
No easy buckets. Doesn't matter where we're at. No easy buckets.
No easy buckets.
Anybody can get it, dude. What are you talking? What do you want from me? And
You're
also,
a gritty Rust Belt dude. I get it, man.
could you imagine if I stripped Bone Collector? And I don't even know if it was Bone Collector, by the way. I still don't. I'm still
Is Bone Collector, was that an and1 character? Was Bone Collector? I don't know if that was one.
You don't know the Bone Collector?
Really?
No.
Well, do you even know what N1 was? Do you know what they did?
Yeah. I apologize to Mr. Bone Collector, but I guess Hot Sauce, Skip to My Lou, the Professor, those are the guys. There he is. Okay.
Say sorry to him.
I
do apologize, Mr. Collector. That's my fault. I should have known. I do recognize the face now that I see it.
And I would like to follow up on an apology for fouling him, too, to be honest. It was the first 10 seconds I was in. You know, I tried to get in a couple other times. I kind of got booted down the bench.
Was it Spida?
I don't think so.
Was it Circus?
Who coached you?
AKA from 50.
Is this the N1 thing?
Worm, Baby Shack, High Riser, Polo, Easy J, the Professor, obviously.
was
Skip
on.
to My Lou, Shane Buzzy, and the Bone Collector.
Buzzy.
Was this the roster from the game he was in, or you just reading the A1 roster?
No, that's just the N1 roster. You have some fucking respect for the. You didn't know that was the N1?
No, I didn't know.
I mean,
What are you doing?
How am I supposed to know if they didn't all come to play in the game?
Oh, boy.
How am I supposed to
this
know?
guy doesn't
I
even know
think Diggs
N1
is
either.
right here, Pat. I think Diggs is right because Diggs he's reading off just random and1 players, but the Professor wasn't even in this game you were at.
Well, there's
was
only
he?
like 12 of them. So
No, the Professor wasn't in the game. What are you talking about? This is the Harlem Globetrotters, the N1 team, basically. which I went to one of their games. Whoa, it was terrible too. Like,
Yeah, not great.
Really? Yeah, how was that? I'm always curious about it.
just like the
was it
N1.
terrible?
I have an assist though. I do have an assist with the Harlem Globetrotters. I punted a ball to a guy that was standing on somebody else's shoulder, and they dunked it.
That'd be
was it
cool.
sick
I'd
with
watch
it?
that.
It was not sick with it. Was he at the game though? Or are we looking up just?
No, that was the official N1 Live Street Ballers tour that I read there.
Yeah.
Who was your coach, Pat? Who coached your team?
Amp Harris? He's a local promoter. Reggie Wayne coached the other team. He did not ask me to be on his team.
Reggie.
Did not ask me.
So in 2011, 2012 for the Indy one, the professor was there.
Hold on, I got a picture.
It wasn't the professor. That was not the year I was there.
I got it.
Do you know the year you were there?
I have no idea. A couple years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 2016. I fouled him so hard though. I should not have done that. I'm not a fouler either. I don't even touch the paint, by the way. I'm not even in the paint. Get me out of here.
You gotta let him know.
My guy ran through though at just about the same time. He shook somebody, so I had to. Like I was there. I was like, "Am I going to strip an N1 guy right now? First 2 seconds on the. Of course I am." And then I should have known I was not. I should have known.
I mean, you weren't trying to foul him. You were trying to pick his pocket and yoke it at the other end.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, it did feel as if that hoop was at about 9.5 feet.
It was Reggie Wayne and Amp Harris?
Yeah.
Yeah, I found the picture of you guys at the end of the game or the beginning of the game.
Go ahead and put it up, or
I said
Pat very sweaty, or did he not get much action?
that's the group there. You will see.
Perfect picture. Who did the lighting? It's perfect.
I'm right there with the sleeveless. You see me, by the way,
Oh, yeah.
in the red.
Where?
Right there. That's me.
Man, you look young.
Thank you. I got my hair cut. That's kind of all I need to do is cut my hair. I was very thin at this point, too. I was in good shape. I think this was right before a comedy tour, maybe.
Is that the professor right here?
No, there was
No.
a dunk specialist though in there. He was a white guy on the other team, but he only came in like during the breaks, and he just took off from the foul line. He was next level.
Yeah.
That guy.
Were these guys all from Indy or no?
No, a lot of people travel in. The Black Expo here in Indy is insane. I mean, it is massive. A lot of things, a lot of charity, obviously, a lot of panels, events. It is huge here. And that game is always, every single year I was invited one time. One time I was invited. About a guy.
How are these? How are like you said, how are convention centers in the big hotels that host these giant conferences every year for companies that bring in 2,000 people for a national sales meeting? How do they survive? Because when are these meetings and these conferences ever going to happen?
Indianapolis is a convention city too. So
Yeah,
Indianapolis
I've been there. I think they had the Big Ten Media Days there before when I've worked there.
huge part of our city's economic everything. And the city is built to be a convention city. I think I've talked to you about this before. That's why the Super Bowl goes off without a hitch here. That's why the Big Ten tournament happens here. The Final Fours, everything that happens in Indianapolis is because the city is literally built for guests to come, stay in hotels, walk everywhere, and have good restaurants and everything like that. The convention centers every single week bring in thousands and thousands of people. You never know who the hell's in town. And you're 100% right. I think the city is normally the one in charge of the convention center, right? Normally it's the city, so it's the city losing money, I'd assume, but I don't know when these conventions start back up, which in turn, I don't know when the city starts back up because a lot of the city revolves around hosting and other people coming in from out of town. It is a massive ordeal that we're going through in here in Indianapolis, and I would assume in a lot of other places as well.
Well, the city brings in the huge hotel tax, like a certain amount from every room that is paid for goes to the city. Like that's so much tax dollars that aren't coming in right now, and that's like it makes me think of Cincy or of Indy, of like Chicago, any place that you have Vegas. I mean, how many companies go out to Vegas every single year for their huge meetings?
You can learn a lot, by the way, about the people that run the companies if they have the convention in Vegas. Well, I'm sure they like good shows, but the NFL Combine tried to fuck over Indianapolis too. They moved it to prime time.
Yeah.
So that took away from all the bar and restaurant time that they normally spend here. So normally when the NFL spring break comes to town, which is the Combine, all of our bars and restaurants are rented out by teams, and it's massive. You got special teams coaches meeting here. Then there's an after party here. Then there's a social gathering here. There's this here. And they moved it to prime time. So a lot of our restaurants and stuff that normally get rented out throughout the entire evening, they kind of got swindled on that thing too by the NFL. So,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You just brought up the combine too. With the question marks around the college football, do you think the supplemental draft will kind of be growing or?
So I didn't even really think about the supplemental draft until Michael Lombardi brought it up for the Patriots. He said, wait until you see what the Patriots do with the supplemental draft, which I didn't even know the supplemental draft was a real thing. But if college football is up, I knew it was a real thing, but I didn't know teams prepared for it. Like, I didn't know that was something you actually planned for. If the college football season is up in the air and you're a senior, not a junior, because I'm not sure true juniors can leave anyways. If they were to leave right now, if they knew, I think it has to be 3 years out of high school. But if you're a senior and you have a chance to go to the NFL, do you think you turn to this when is the supplemental draft? Has it already happened?
I think it's July, right?
Do you turn to the supplemental draft if you're a senior with a shot and say, hey, since I'm not going to wait around an entire year, do you take a year to train or do you try to get in now? That's all like for you, because you're a top 10 pick, top 5 pick. Did you leave early?
No, I stayed all 4.
Noble.
Wow.
Hey, there's nothing better. There's nothing better than being a senior on a college football team. It means you're committed to the team. That's what a lot of coaches say. But if you, going into your senior year, I assume everybody thought big swinging dick AJ Hawk's going to be a first-round draft pick. I assume that everybody thought that going into your senior year. If you were looking at the season, and there's a chance it's not going to happen, which I think the NFL is safe. I think college football, there's a big old question mark. If you're AJ Hawk, do you think about trying to get into the supplemental draft to get in the league a year earlier, or do you use this year like the Bosa kid did, and train for an entire year and get ready for next year? What would your approach be, you think?
It would be a tough decision, I guess. I mean, I think if I went back to my 21-year-old brain when I was in school, I would absolutely stay there and be like, all right, whatever. Whenever we do play again, I'll be ready. I'm going to stay in school. But now, 36 years old, looking back, I'd have to give it some thought. Think about, okay, like when is this going to clear up? How long? Like I'm going to have a full year off. I'm going to be that much older once I do go into the league, and I know how teams view that as well. That's not great for your second, third, if you want a second, third contract. So I'd have to give it some thought. But I mean, when I was in college, I'm sure I would have probably just hunkered down and did my thing.
Think about those distractions too. If there's no college football for a year, those college.
What do you
kids.
do? Are you you're a normal student for the whole year?
But what are the students? The students are just at home, right? Because I don't think students are coming back to universities. That's why the college football is probably not going to happen, because they don't know what to do with students on campus, because that seems like that's just going to be a spread fest for COVID-19. But are we at the point now where we're just expecting everybody's probably going to get it? Like I don't know when that is.
Is it a race to herd immunity? Is that what they're trying to do? They're going to eventually try to do, you think?
I have no idea about any of that, but I do have a sneaky suspicion that I think everybody's going to get COVID-19 at some point. I know this is going off of nothing. I know absolutely nothing. And we just got to hope, I guess, that the strand isn't as strong as the initial strand. It just took humans out. But I don't know enough to do this. But I feel like as these numbers go up, the world's shutting back down again. It's like, are you going to try to lock people back up in their houses again? Like, I don't know if that's going to work.
My brother's in college right now, and he said they will be on campus this fall as of now.
Where's he
Central Michigan University. So not small, but not huge.
They're planning on them being back on campus?
Yes.
As of now. I've heard that from other kids, too, that they plan on going back.
That's what they're telling them.
When they were planning on going back early so that they could be done by Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Because in the winter, COVID-19 can run wild on you, brother.
But isn't that – we don't even know if that's true right now, because the places where it's spiking supposedly, it's very hot, like down south.
Summer sun kills coronavirus. 34 minutes, except for in Florida in the summer and in Arizona in the summer. Very interesting.
There are also some schools.
Are people scrambling to buy tanning beds now if they hear that?
Smart. I have one. I can't get in it. It just fucking burns me. That thing might be set on Ecuador.
There were also some schools that were charging full tuition for online-only courses.
Oh, yeah. I would never expect a Ponzi scheme like fucking universities to do something like that ever in my entire life. You probably love college, huh? Because you're a Ohio State guy.
Love what about it?
Everything.
Just the thought of college.
No, I wouldn't. I don't want to go sit in class anymore. Absolutely not. I did that. I had to do that every day for 4 years. That was rough. But no, I had a good time.
You went to class every day for 4 years? You went to class every day for 4 years?
Yes, I've told you before. They checked my classes. That guy would come back and make sure I was there, sitting there towards the front, paying attention. Absolutely.
You never missed one class.
I missed a class or two, but you know when I missed a few was when I was a senior. I already was done playing my senior season, and I was still in school. And they kind of made a joke. I was going to travel to visit teams before the draft, and I had to miss a few classes. And I remember Coach Tressel's buddy, he used to check a lot of the classes who I'm tight with, would tried to play a joke on me like I was in trouble from Coach Tressel for missing the class when I was going to visit with like the Lions or something after my football career was already over.
I would say, hey, sweater vest, come over here. Come over here, sweater vest. Let me smack you in the fucking mouth. I'll be the number 5 overall pick. You keep checking these classes, that's good. I'll buy the damn class here in about 2 months.
Obviously, I was done playing football for Ohio State, but they were just messing with me. But yeah, I had to go, man. I mean, some guys maybe could try to slide around it, but no, they checked our classes. They made sure you were there.
AJ, how was that visit
I had
with the
zero
Lions?
online classes too.
How was that visit with the Lions you just talked about?
You know what, Pat? Who was with me when I visited Lions? Ernie Sims, and they drafted Ernie that year.
Love Ernie.
I ate lunch with Ernie in the Lions facility. It was great.
How cool was he? He was a wild man coming out of college, wasn't he?
Yeah, I saw Ernie at some of those like kind of postseason award shows in college too and stuff. I loved him. He was always a great time.
He grew up a lot before he got to the Colts because he went from Detroit to the Eagles, I believe, then Eagles to the Colts, and now he's at FIU, I believe. FAU.
He's a coach.
Yeah, he's a coach. Good guy.
Probably still runs a 4.340.
If I had to guess, he could still run sub 4.5. I would guarantee he could run sub 4.5 right now if he had to.
Oh, I'm sure he would. He'd be offended if you said otherwise.
Anybody?
I wouldn't. I'm not.
No, I think
Not
that
me.
sounds about right.
Oh, never. That was like a speed 88 on Madden. He could fly.
Hey, did you have Cormier on earlier?
Oh, he was awesome.
He's the man. I think he's how'd it go? I'm going to go back and watch it eventually.
He's working out 14 times a week. He did say 14 times a day to us at the beginning of the conversation, and I said, "Excuse me?" He said 14 times a week. He'll wrestle in the morning with a bunch of animals, and then he'll do kickboxing at night. And he
coaches wrestling. He coaches like his kids on wrestling. Like he's a wrestling coach as well.
Yeah, he's a stud. This is his last fight. I guess everybody knew that except for me. So when I asked him that, he said, "Yeah, this is it. August 15th against Stipe." He says he feels very good. He said he's doing everything that you're supposed to do. This is the first time he said he's doing everything that he possibly can to focus on his fight. Nutritionist, focus, training, everything, because this is his last fight and he wants to make sure it's his best fight. So he was awesome. I am a massive fan of him after that conversation. Not that I wasn't before. I think he's a great commentator. I think he's very well spoken. He knows a lot of things. He makes the environment and atmosphere of the fights that he calls a great one. I think he's very good at his microphone. I actually told him I think he's the best athlete commentator currently going. I mean, Tony Romo just got broken off, but if you look around athletes doing commentating, there's nobody that reads a room or a moment with, insight and everything like that, like Daniel Cormier. So I enjoyed him a lot as a person, but after talking to him, I fucking love that guy. And I met Stipe in Columbus, so now I'm very torn. I crowd surf with that guy.
Yeah, the trilogy fight, man. I mean, he's obviously doing all of this because he says it's his last fight, but he's also fighting Stipe. And they've traded, DC won the first one, Stipe won the second. Now we get to see what happens. So it's on Fight Island. Does he have any worries about going there? Does he know what it's going to be like?
It's not on Fight Island.
It's not.
No, he knew.
Oh, at the Apex Center?
Yeah, he knew about. Yeah, it's in the Apex Center, which he said there's 2.5 feet per square that are shortened, by the way, and there's 8 of them or whatever. You do the math, so that's 20 feet, I do believe, off of the rat. So he said that he's going to wrestle. Like he said it plays well for him. He said a lot of people. He said something in another interview. He's like single leg, single leg, single leg, single leg. Just wait for it. It's coming. He told Stipe this is exactly what's happening in Trilogy. I guess Stipe probably knows everything about that, but it's the American fighters that are fighting in Vegas. The foreign fighters are the ones fighting on Fight Island out there at Yas Island. But we asked that question. We were very much, and he knew about the fight with Stipe about 2 months before anybody else.
Yeah.
He already knew about that. Their first fight down in Jacksonville, he actually had his trainer come down, I think in the octagon for him to hit some mitts to kind of get a feel back because he hasn't fought in a year.
Okay. Well, Stipe had an eye situation that kept him out for a long time. It's going to be an awesome fight. But yeah, DC, he has, whenever he does stop fighting, I mean, they should put him on almost every pay-per-view they have. I think DC's awesome, and he and Rogan and Anik are a great trio together.
Relatable. I told this to DC. I said, I don't want you to take any offense to this, but you have a relatable body, right? Like he's like Gary Brackett. You know, like Gary Brackett had a relatable body. Nobody knows how Gary Brackett was able to do what Gary Brackett was able to do for over a decade in the NFL, middle linebacker. Nobody understands how Daniel Cormier goes against these physically imposing monsters. But Daniel Cormier said he loves that. Like his whole drive, he said he's super competitive, obviously, like every professional athlete, but and we had a whole conversation about how that can be a bit annoying. Like being super competitive is a bit annoying at times. People don't really understand that. But he said he likes seeing these people who are just physically imposing and monsters and everybody's going crazy in the moment. He says he likes thinking about how I'm going to make them look so normal. I'm going to make that person look so normal by the time I'm done. Like that's what gets him going. And I think he is, I gained a lot of respect for him in that conversation today. Yeah. He is a cool dude, man.
He talks it up. He talks up his dad bod and talks about when he'll wear his sweatpants and pull them up past his belly button and tuck his shirt in. He leans into the character. He's a giant professional wrestling fan too.
Oh yeah, he cut a promo. He talked about cutting a promo on Brock Lesnar and Brock Lesnar cutting one back, and then the deal couldn't get done. And then he said over too, which is a wrestling term for people that are loved by the fans. Over. Yeah, he dropped a couple wrestling terms in the middle of our conversation.
Rub. He always talks about the rub.
Oh, you got to give a little rub. AJ Hawk's been giving me quite a big rub in Ohio, by the way. Ohio was not all for me due to me and Urban Meyer having a beef for a little bit that has been settled, by the way. But you've given me quite a rub in Ohio, bub.
Great. I'll give you a rub anytime.
Whoa. Hey now.
I learned a lot about those rubs this weekend from interesting guy.
From who?
Interesting guy.
You learned about what kind of rubs?
This guy has this. So I've heard of guys that get body gurus and shit like that. You know, like there's guys that get body gurus.
Yeah, those guys are awesome. They're all so good. Not that there's not some good ones out there, but there's a bunch of turds.
I heard some stories about a body guru that showed up, and it was just next level, man. There's people scamming these professional athletes out of a lot of money, acting as if they're fixing their body, but it all goes back to that placebo effect. It all goes back to that placebo effect where if you feel as if your muscles are getting more flexible and pliable and all that shit, probably makes you think you're invincible until you just sniper, boom, Don. Thought that guy rubbed that out. No, he did not even touch it.
Well, I'm not. For the record, though, I want to make sure I'm not talking about Dwight Freeney's body gurus that wear the gi on the airplane. If you're wearing a gi on an airplane, you got to have some level of either delusion or self-confidence that I have to respect.
You just directly went after Dwight Freeney right there.
Sure.
Not even close.
Yeah, you did.
What did you do? You did cold tubs?
No.
You did not do cold tubs.
Very, very rarely.
So
that thing had a layer of just oil and gross body things floating on top of it, even though they clean it every day.
No, you got to shower before you go in the tub. Got to shower before you go in the tub.
Yeah, that happens. Everyone follows that rule, don't they?
Signs everywhere. I've never seen a single person shower before they get in there. But if you go in a cold tub, you need to have the toesies thing. The thing on the toes.
Those help.
Oh, my God. Like people do those cold as balls interviews with Kevin Hart, and they just get in there. And I'm like, I was a cold tub. Like I would go in cold tub 15 minutes after every single time I did anything. I don't even, it just made my lower half feel good. It made me feel spry. And like I wouldn't even do, I was too lazy to do the flush where you go in the hot tub, then a cold tub, 5 minutes, 3 minutes. I was too lazy to do that. So I just said, oh, fuck it. I'm going to sit in a cold tub for 15 minutes. But I watched this cold as balls conversation, which I think I would fare well in, right? I think I would be able to do well in it. But there's not a single person that puts the toe thing on. And I'll tell you what. That would get me. I would not be able to get in there if it wasn't for the little toe thingy that you put on.
Someone needs to tell. I think they probably just aren't aware of it. Someone needs to send some to Kevin Hart. Like, hey, this is for you and your guest. I think it'll make it a lot better.
This will make a world of difference. It really,
just little neoprene toe covers. That's all it is.
Vinatieri had this OG move where he would take a Gatorade towel, dunk it in the hot tub, then he would put it down, obviously, through his midsection, and then he'd get in a cold tub.
Yeah.
Smart. He had like a diaper on of hot water, and then he'd get in there. Very smart, but I'm too lazy to do it, right? I'm too lazy to do it. So I would just give me the toe things. I'm putting those on there. Give me my phone, and I'm going to sit in here for 15 minutes, and it's going to be a terrible 4 minutes, and it's going to be a terrible exit. But from those, 11 minutes there, I'm going to be okay. I can't believe you didn't cold tub. You didn't tour it all? You didn't cold tub? Did you stretch?
Yeah, I stretched when the coaches made us.
I wasn't a big stretcher either. I didn't understand it.
I mean, I wish at times, I wish I was a little bit more flexible. I'm not like crazy stiff. I can touch my toes and everything. But.
Oh,
See
do
that?
it. Don't do
Flexibility, dude.
Don't rip your pants, man.
They're already ripped, dude. That's why you buy ripped pants. You see this? You ever been able to do that?
Yeah, your knees bent.
No.
How much were those jeans?
American Eagle, probably.
75.
Nah, probably $45, $50.
Yeah.
That's it, really?
55. American Eagle is no
Well,
free
yeah, if you're going to
ads.
American Eagle, well, a lot of those jeans though that are sold with all the holes in them, they're like $1,400. Like, try explaining that to some World War II vet. Now, he was all of a sudden came back and like, hey man, he's like, hey, you got holes all over your jeans. Like, yeah, man, well, I got a good deal. They were only $1,600, originally $2,500.
I
Explain
wonder.
to that guy.
I do wonder what these jeans cost now that I'm thinking about it. They have to be, because I'm big. This is like a
Jeans are
size.
expensive, man. For guys, like jeans are super. They're way too expensive. I feel like.
I mean, there's only a couple good ones. Page is good. Those
Yep.
Page pants are
They stretch.
unbelievable. I'll wear Page. I need like the male yoga pants. Everybody's seen my legs now at this point. They're probably the biggest on earth. No big deal. But I have to have jeans and pants that stretch. American Eagle, I have found that their denim is the best flex denim for me. But I'm a size 40, right? I wear a size 40 pants because of this ass. I would assume that is a little bit more expensive. These are probably $100 at least. These.
Yeah, probably.
I'm on the site now. I'll find it.
Good sale going on, 6% off everything.
Their jean shorts, though, are the best by far. Not even a close second. American Eagle shorts, best.
Yeah, they're nice.
You know, I was supposed to have some jean shorts down in Florida. We took like a family picture when we were there on Friday. In I guess we had matching outfits somewhat as a family, and the kids were wearing jean shorts and the shirt, like black shirts. I didn't have a black shirt, and I don't own a pair of jean shorts. So my wife scrambled and tried to get me some down there, and she was not successful. She couldn't find any jean shorts.
Pat, those ones originally 60, probably on sale for either 45 or 35 right now.
Everything I just said, $45. Yeah, okay.
The cheapest
good.
jeans you can find.
Well, that's what I do. That's what
Good
I
for
do.
you.
I wear shirts that we either sell or I get sleeveless hoodies that I've accrued over the years. And American Eagle or Page pants. That's just where you're going to find me at. That's where you're going to find me.
Hey, what happened with Zeke? What did he say?
He said, I'm faded. I believe at the end of a Twitch stream, and then he said, "Oh, I didn't even turn this off." And then Sports Illustrated said that he was high. Then now he's
Faded
like,
could mean drunk.
"Faded could definitely mean drunk. Faded could definitely mean drunk. Bitch, I'm faded. 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 I'm faded. Faded. Faded."
What did Sports Illustrated say?
They said that he was high.
Yeah, they read an article titled "Zeke Elliott admits to being high."
Whoa.
Okay, so what if he is? But they don't know that. Yeah, he didn't say that.
10-4, who cares if he is? But I would assume that Zeke does not want the NFL to think that he is currently high because they can test if there is a probable cause or something of that. There's some in the substance of abuse policy. Now, granted, I don't know it now. They've changed it with the new CBA and over the years, but there is a probable cause testing thing for street drugs if something like this was to happen. So I would assume that's why Zeke is like, Sports Illustrated, go, no, I'm drunk. Get out of here. I don't need to be tested. Now, granted, I assume Zeke would pass that test with flying colors, but peeing in front of somebody when you don't have to is an uncomfortable situation. Or he was high and was just pissed off that Sports Illustrated said he was high. One or the other.
Yeah, his lawyer, Mr. Frankie Salzano, said he's dead serious about filing a lawsuit
That's real,
against
though.
SI.
It's 100% because of what I just said. Nobody wants to be in that substance of abuse program. I've been in it 8 times a month, 27 months. You have a PO, they're going to track you. It's just, that's not something that Zeke would want. But he did say I'm faded, and I would assume an old white who writes at Sports Illustrated was like, faded? Let me Google that real quick. Tyga sang a song about this. Tyga was smoking weed while he sang this. He's high. Son of a bitch is high. Let's post it. And then Zeke's like, no, I was drunk. Please get off of me. And I'm allowed to be. It's the off season. Get off my dick.
Yeah. Or you could say, hey, no, that's what I say when I'm very tired. I was tuckered out. I wanted to go to bed.
Oh, I'm fading.
That's all you got to say. I mean, it's crazy. I guess there's nothing out there. There's
nothing.
You got to create some content. So how did this Sports Illustrated writer find out about Zeke saying this on his Twitch stream? Just on people on Twitter maybe saw it and said something?
Well, it's Ezekiel Elliott. It's Dallas Cowboys.
I hope, I don't want to cut you off, but I hope there are old school media members monitoring professional athletes' Twitch streams and watching like 6 hours straight of nothing
All day.
Try to get something like that.
Blake Snell. Think about Blake Snell's. I mean, every day, all day, that's happening. Just like teams are monitoring everybody's social media by fake accounts. Like, I think I had 3 people in the Colts front office that were following me from fake accounts. I think. Like, I think there was 3 people following me.
Well, Cliff Kingsbury, I had him on my podcast years ago when he was at Texas Tech. He told me it made some news too. Like he said they will reach out to people through like burner Twitter accounts posing as girls, trying to make them see if they'll make bad decisions.
Jeez.
I get now that some would say that's entrapment, but
I don't know if that's exactly what he said, but he's definitely said they use online. They'll use accounts to check on players. I don't know if but it was something with females.
I get what he's trying to do.
It wasn't a sting operation. They weren't trying to say, "Hey, I'm an escort. Pay me $400."
No, but I get what he's trying to do, though, right? Because you could probably, I assume, especially in these DMs these days, with the access and the ability that people have to whoever, I assume there's some pretty savage things being said into DMs by people. I guess that is a way to find out whether or not your players are acting how you would hope that they would act in the DMs.
Maybe they're just being respectful to women. You want them to make sure they're respectful interactions. So say like, hey, you can't say this to these people.
Just for the dudes out there, by the way, that bear waving hello.
Oh yeah.
Good. You're good to go.
Good gift.
I got a chance to do it with my friends here. One summer, I was single. They were single, but I would not get on any of these dating apps. I refused to do it, but some of my friends were, and I enjoyed playing the game, for them. Like, okay, here we go. This is my new face. Here we are. And boy, what I learned quickly with it, and I think I even hooked up my friends here a couple times. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. I don't think I've ever. Yeah, I have been publicly thanked. You have thanked me numerous times for it. The bear waving hello, though, is the go-to. It just ahead. Like if Sam and I. If my current fiance and I both swiped right on each other and I sent that bear hello, we would have been engaged probably as soon as that day started. Just a little heads up. So, but I assume there's some idiots out there. There always will be, always is.
Yeah, I mean, of course. You can't even really call them idiots. I mean, they're young. A lot of them, especially in college. Are you kidding me? You think they're thinking 10, 20 years down the road?
I just got a text from Mike Greenberg.
Greeny.
Said, give me a call. He said, give me a call when you get a chance, bub.
Uh-oh. Does that make you nervous?
No.
It's Greeny.
He's in, how many Hall of Fames is he in? He's in 2 Hall of Fames. That guy, he is a maestro. Watching him operate, that might have been the most beneficial thing for me this past fall. Game day, electric. Very lucky to be there. I got a chance to see that was really cool. A show that I watched, obviously, that was awesome. The Thursday night games that we got to call, cool. Couldn't have replay or really look at the thing. So definitely a cool thing to call games, but it wasn't an ideal, it was cool though. It was cool to learn the game. Watching Mike Greenberg work every Monday morning starting at about 6 a.m., that was something I don't think that you could ever put a price on. Like, I think watching him handle the setup of the show, the day-to-day, what he wants to do, what he wants to get accomplished, the conversation, watching him work was something that you can never pay for, and I'm very, very, very lucky to be there. The question was, I was asked one time, if you want to come to the pre-show meeting, you can come to the pre-show meeting or whatever. I'm like, I would like to come to the fucking pre-show meeting. 6 a.m., right? So you come to the pre-show meeting, and then you start realizing, like, this is where a lot of people are getting their stats from, and there's a guy named Hembo there that would take care of me in beautiful fashion, and Allie, and I should know the other guy's name. I forget. The whole crew over there is really good people, but watching Greeny kind of work and figure out what needs to be talked about, what should be kind of placed priority, and then how he handles the conversations and the flow of everything. And then I got asked if I wanted to go to a post-show meeting. I was like, oh, I would love to go to a post-show meeting. It was just like a university almost with that Greeny. I have nothing but the utmost respect for Mike Greenberg. So
what was that post-show meeting like? Like, would you go over what went right and what went wrong in that show?
Yeah, it was a wrap-up show.
That's great. That should happen more often. That doesn't happen many places.
Well, I assume that's why because you got to remember, Get Up at one point was in a bad spot. Like, that show was...
They revamped everything, I feel like, other than Greenberg.
Well, and I think they built that entire Pier 17 for that show,
yeah.
Right?
They dumped a ton of money into it, and the problem was they promoted it for like a year. And then all of a sudden it came out, and people were like, well, what is it? It's grown into what it is now, which is a good show. But it was weird, like how they like overpromised early on, I feel like.
And I think Greeny, I think he sensed that, that it kind of underdelivered, and they did, like, it was, I don't know if it was he never told me this, so I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was his idea too. Like the show was his idea. So I feel like he almost put that on his back, like with everything he's accomplished. Like I think Get Up in his eyes was like, okay, this is going to be what people remember most. So he put that show on his back basically, and watching them operate is just, it was something that I could never pay for. I was very lucky to be there and do that. So anytime I get a text from him, I always assume he's going to try to either make me better, tell me something I did wrong, or be like, hey, I need you potentially to do this. And I'm all in. I love the Greenie, man. He's always wearing Louboutin shoes, too. Like, his shoes are always got red. I mean, he is always just, he's the man. Greenie is the man. There's one of the guys that's out there that you'd be like, good dude. Happy he's a good guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's been doing it forever. That's his show. So, of course, he takes a bunch of ownership in that. He takes pride in it. But isn't he going to do some radio now on ESPN for like 3 hours a day? He's going to add that to his schedule? Yeah,
I guess they're adding radio on to his contract or whatever, which maybe is what he
get added money?
I don't ever want to say the things that Greenie has said privately, but Greenie has so much swagger, it's unbelievable. It is in like this, I don't want to say nerdy, but kind of nerdy swag that he has is just unbelievable. A couple of things that just slip out that I don't even think he knows is like a massive flex. It's just like a super flex. And I think I'm the first person that's ever just like died laughing at the things that he says and just be like savage, absolutely savage. Well, Pat, I was a part of a show that generated $500 million in revenue or something like that. Like that came up in a conversation and I just started dying laughing. I was like, that is a fucking hilarious line. So I'm not 100% sure he's at the point where he's worried about the financials of it all, but I would assume if they're going to add him to a radio lineup that they're going to have to pay him for that, because that's just kind of how it goes. But an extra 3 hours on top of that 2 hour Get Up show, which has become just his show, by the way. He had co-host through his quarantine. It has become just him with a different panel. So he's directing and guiding for 2 hours, then he's going to do another 3 hours. That's 5 hours a day.
Well, and what time does he get there for the pre-show stuff?
6 a.m.
So, I mean, that's another 2
on
top
there at 4.
of...
No, he gets there at 6. I saw him.
Okay.
Well, I know. I beat him in a couple more.
Ooh.
He
First one in, last one to leave, right? That's you.
No, I got out of there quickly because I had to go do my show somewhere else. But, if I got asked to do in the post show thing, I stopped.
Well, what are they doing, though? They're revamping everything. I feel like Keyshawn Johnson is going to ESPN to do radio. What is he doing, the Golick and Wingo slot? Or what?
NFL Live is going to be a really good show, I think. NFL Live, Laura Rutledge is hosting. Swagoo is on there, Marcus Spears, Dan Orlovsky, Keyshawn Johnson, and Mina Kimes.
The TV show.
Yeah, the NFL Live show I think is going to be a very good show. Like that.
Who does it now? Who does NFL Live now?
Great question. Nobody knows the answer. I think that's why they are moving to a new crew or whatever.
Keyshawn's doing radio there too now.
Yeah, they're revamping the radio lineup from what I've been told. We had discussions for a little bit on whether or not I would go to ESPN radio. Those discussions stopped because of how much I enjoy the non-FCC fucking life. Like the radio is such a hard, like I don't want to commit to that long term because I would like to be, I think long form conversations, I think the authenticity of conversations is much more on the rise as opposed to the FCC regulated conversations. So for me, it was hard for me to be like, yeah, I'll do that. We had conversations. I think they were interested. I was interested, but it never really blossomed anything. But I do know that they're trying to revamp the entire ESPN radio thing. And I think if Greenie's a part of it, they're probably going to do so because that son of a bitch is good.
Yeah, Will Kane left. Is he taking Will Kane's spot? I mean, I don't know why I'm getting into so much detail on this. I don't know why I even know so much about it, but I know Will Kane. He's going to be a political analyst or something.
Fox and Friends, yeah.
Yeah, he's heading weekends, I think, right? Fox and Friends weekends on Fox News, and he said he'll also be doing sports talk. I'm not sure how or when or if he'll have a podcast or whatever, but that's a whole new world now. You get into that politics world, hey, that shit is a buzzsaw. Both sides, by the way. If you get in that, you automatically have 50% of people that hate your guts through and through, let alone the people that are going to hate you regardless, right? So let's add them in there. So probably 70 to 75% of the people on earth will hate you if you get in the politics game. But then you're like, yeah, but I'm changing the world maybe. Probably not. But I think Will Kane will be I think Will Kane is good at what he does. Like, I think Will Kane is good at what Will Kane does. I've always thought that. I watch a show, I'm like, this is a very Will Kane show. This is a very Will Kane take. This is exactly what it is. And he's a handsome son of a bitch. I mean, let's not get that misconstrued.
I want to know how much some of these analysts get paid to be like if you're a paid consultant or a paid commentator, where you come on, like say something happens and you're an ex-military guy and Fox News brings you on once or twice a week maybe to hit on something like a terrorist attack that happened. Those guys get paid pretty good money.
Yeah, I don't know. Anytime you get in that politics world, I would assume that the price tag goes up strictly because, of your life, your happiness, like that. I would assume that number has to.
The dream for those people is to get their own show. Like, I think I saw something like Brett Baer. I think he makes more than $10 million a year or something on his show. Like, people that have their own show on a big network like that, a political show, like they get paid cash. Hannity, I know he makes a ton of money too. He does radio as well, I believe.
Yeah, we got to remember to get those shows. You got to be like Rachel Maddow is a Rhodes Scholar. Like those shows, I believe Hannity's been doing it for what ever. I think he's been doing it forever. But boy, what do you got to have? Security everywhere you go, right?
Oh yeah,
both sides. You got to have security everywhere you go, because you got lunatics on both sides that are ready to kill you at any time. I mean, that is an aggressive decision to go do.
I don't know. I mean, it depends, I guess, who you are. I'm sure, like, Bill O'Reilly would need security. I don't know where he's at now.
Well, unfortunately, I do believe that Bill O'Reilly made some terrible choices back in the day. Yeah, I don't know. I try to watch when something pops off in the political world, which seems to be every fucking day now at this point.
Everything's breaking news. That's what makes no sense. Now, if you turn on any news channel, it says breaking news for everything, and then they'll play like a little music bed, breaking news. I'm like, you can't have breaking news 38 times a day.
And by the way, Twitter already broke this news.
Yeah,
so
old news.
3 hours ago.
I want to let you know, this isn't just breaking news. This is actually old news that we're telling for the first time. Both sides. But anytime something pops off, man, it's awesome to watch MSNBC and CNN and then just flip right over to Fox News and just be like, are we living in the same planet? I don't think so. I don't know how either of these two people will ever coexist with each other. And that's awesome. And then I kind of get out of it and I go back to my dumb little sports world. I'm like, okay, fun time to be alive. Here we are.
Yeah,
but I don't know if I'm getting that.
Don't you think at times those political people are probably somewhat not jealous but envious of sports commentators that can just talk about sports and sometimes don't have to get into like, hey, well, okay, my opinion on this thing may swing, like I could be canceled instantly depending on how I feel about a certain situation.
Well, I would assume that they see the people like me and they go, that idiot is making money in the profession that I choose. Yeah. And what does he do? Nothing. I would assume there's some, because if I was in their position, I would assume I would be like, these two idiots on the internet are making a living doing what I'm doing. Now, granted, I'm not 100% sure of that. The money is, I'm not 100%. They probably hate us. Yeah, I would assume that they absolutely hate us. And Will Kane would be the first guy in a long time. I guess Malcolm Jenkins, right? He just signed something with CNN. Mm-hmm. I guess they'll be able to tell us what it's like over there, right? Because they'll be able to be like, yeah, you should stay in the sports world, or hey, it's not as bad over there. Actually, death threats aren't as bad. That's what I always think about the politics world. It's like, I enjoy my life so much. Like, I enjoy being liked by people. I like people. Like, I enjoy having conversations with people on the side of the road. Like, I'm cool with people. Like, I enjoy that. Like, I enjoy the human interaction of people being like, hey, I appreciate whatever stupidity you do because it helps. Like, I enjoy that. I don't care where you're from, what you do, all that shit. As soon as you get into the politics world, it's like, fuck you, you're the worst human of all time. You want to fucking do what? And then the other people are like, oh, that's the best person of all time, but fuck this person. It's just like, I don't know if I'm built for that. I don't think I am built for that. It's just on the street, some person coming up to me like, fuck you. It's like, what did I do? Me? What did I do to you? Oh, you said Cam Newton's going to make the Patriots better. Like, that's not happening. Like, that is not happening. And I'm 100% cool with that. But I do believe those people make a lot of money. But that's a classic, like, you got to sell your happiness then.
Mm-hmm. And there's so few of them making the big money too. Like, there's how many are working every day on working for a show, assisting, or they have a show but it's at 10 a.m. and it's not prime time, that aren't making a fraction of what the big guys make.
All I'm trying to do is get through this life, say stupid things into a microphone, make people happy, move to an island. That's all I'm trying to do. Those politics people, I think whenever they get on the TV, they're trying to save the world. They're trying to push their agenda. They're trying to get into politics themselves. They're trying to be president or maybe. Like, that's a whole different. They just have a completely. Like Will Cain. I wonder if Will Cain knows that. Like, I would assume Will Cain does know that's why he's getting into that world.
He better.
But you have to have, I want to. I don't know. That seems like an aggressive decision. And maybe I'm
Will
just
Cain
too
probably
young.
he probably wants more freedom to talk about things that he's interested in. I know ESPN's gone through spurts where they don't want people talking any kind of politics.
And by the way, I don't think they should, just for future. Either way, I just, because that's like me giving people advice on what they should do. Like, you are not coming to me to hear what I think you should do with voting for the real world or anything like that. I don't fucking know, dude. I don't fucking know, dude.
And people don't expect you to have a take on every single issue too. That's the good thing. Like, you don't have to. Like, there's things you don't have an opinion on, or you don't like. I don't have a fully formed opinion on this. I can't let you know right now.
I do believe, though, there's a couple of debates that I have watched where I could walk up there in my jorts and sleeveless hoodie and win them.
I believe it.
There's been some debate. The Indiana governor debate that happened just a couple years ago that I watched. I almost broke in and just stood on the stage and said, "Fuck it, I'll run. Here we go. What are we doing?"
What was wrong? Like, what was wrong with it?
Oh, it's just one idiot after another. It's like that. How can you say something dumber? I don't know. Let's wait for the next person. Oh, there it is. Got dumber. Let's wait for the next one. It's just, I don't know. It feels like it's robots, but they're signing up to get in that world that I would never do. So I guess that takes some sort of talent. I guess.
Yeah. Some kind of ambition that I guess I don't have.
Well, is that the show? Nope. I got to read something.
Yeah.
Guess who's
Cannabis.
Back again.
Cannabis is back.
Oh, tell a friend.
Guess who's back? 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 Man, everybody has that friend that's over there spitting all the time and putting that tobacco in their face. Everybody's got it. Look, here's a guy right there just did it. Look at that, spitting in bottles, spitting in cups, flipping their fingers off the tin. You know, all those. There is an alternative that makes your body feel better, that tastes better, and won't have any of the terrible shit that tobacco has that you can put in your lip right now in pouch fashion in a variety of flavors that you will love forever. And that's from our friends at Cannabis.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo!
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
We just launched the cannabis strain flavors straight from the hills of Humboldt County. Go on to CannabisCBD.com and buy the new Skittles strain tins. Skittles spelled with a Z. So Skittles strain tins. Straight dip from Cannabis CBD isn't tobacco flavored, but tastes like actual pot strains. Here we go. Cannabis will launch a new strain every 2 to 3 weeks. Unbelievable flavor. Can't wait for the OG Kush to be released next week. I can't. The Humboldt collection is something that is absolutely beautiful. Cannabis flavored dip. How they do it? Flavored with terpenes. What are those? Nobody knows, but it tastes delicious and it works as a beautiful alternative for your tobacco spitting and chewing friends. 2020, we no longer dance around with tobacco and carcinogens and nicotine and all of that bullshit. There's alternatives, and the best one that this office has found is the Cannabis CBD infused pouches, and now the Skittles straight tins in the cannabis flavors straight from the hills of Humboldt County, which is where all the ganja came from for a long time in California.
Yep.
Shout out to Cannabis. They are very good. That's Pat15 at CannabisCBD.com for 15% off site-wide. That's Pat15, not McAfee or Hawk. Pat15 at CannabisCBD.com for 15% off site-wide. The boys love it. You will too. I've never been a big chewer, but I put a couple of these in this weekend while we're on our little trip ski. Not bad to chew, taste, spit, and body feel better with a little bit of CBD in it.
Do you have to spit with it?
You can swallow if you want. I spit just strictly because it's the only reason why I put it in was to.
Yeah. What if you mixed can of dips with actual dip
Don't do it.
to wean yourself off of dip? Like, I'm thinking of tieback.
Don't need to do it.
Don't have to.
Nope.
This one is such a good replacement. You don't have to wean yourself off anything.
AJ, what are you trying to do?
I quit cold turkey. Don't even need the old
Look
stuff
at that.
anymore.
Ty Schmidt quit cold turk, dog.
This isn't like a shrimp allergy.
It's called a read, guys. I'm setting you up.
Good read, AJ.
AJ, Cannadips.
I know how Cannadips works. Believe me, I know. It's good.
You
it
chew
works. I talked to the
Cannadips
people
CBD?
up there, the execs.
Yep, it's ready. It's ready.
Ty, how old were you when you had your first dip?
15 maybe.
Oh, okay.
Really? Mm-hmm. Jesus Christ, Iowa.
Need to have it mowing the lawn. Need to.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Cannadips CBD.
I was 16.
Jesus.
At Rudy's Subs.
My part of time.
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
Thought about puking in the bathroom. Didn't, though.
I tried tobacco on 3 different occasions. They were all at training camp. They were all with offensive linemen. And I was told each time that it wouldn't make me feel too terrible. And I puked all 3 times.
Yep. That's why I'm not going to try it.
Don't try tobacco, but do try Cannadips CBD. CannadipsCBD.com, PAT15. 15% off site-wide. AJ, any final thoughts before we get the hell out of here?
No, I think I'm good, but I did see something, some Pelicans players, I believe, tested positive. It's breaking news. So I guess we'll see how this all plays out, man.
I think the NBA is testing everybody right now so they can get that 14-day quarantine before they go into the Dome. I think we're going to learn more and more NBA players test positive. And now, granted, players are going to have to make their own decisions for their health and safety with all the guidelines, blah, 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 blah. But I think we're going to learn more and more and more players are going to have it here in the next couple of weeks so that they can get that lockdown out of the NBA is probably trying to get that lockdown out of the way before you go into Biodome with Pauly Shore in Orlando.
Yeah, is hockey going to happen, though? I know Nick might know, but didn't the Lightning had to shut down all their facility?
Yeah, they did, but no major alert like it's kind of been in the NBA. You're not hearing as much drama as there is going on.
Since we're at the end of the show, so if we get shadow banned or whatever, it doesn't matter. Tampa Bay Lightning owner, best friends with Bill Gates. Bill Gates owns all the vaccines, basically. So he was shutting it down before there's potential vaccine. That's the end of the show. Let's get the fuck out of here.
The greatest sports talk show on the internet from 1 to 2 Eastern Standard Time. So come on down for a mental vacation with the boys on YouTube Live. It's McAfee and Hawk. It's McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk. AJ used to tackle quarterbacks and he's a Rust Belt kind of guy. That's the punter of the decade for the 2010s, kicking Pierce missiles to the sky. It's McAfee and Hawk. It's McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk. It's McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk.